Right, well, there she is, folks. About to go out for a bit of a test ride on the Triumph 900 GT Pro.
Hi folks, if this is the first time you've seen any of my videos, could I just ask you to stop right now, just go below, hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel just to give me a little bit of support. That would be awesome. Thanks very much. Enjoy the video.
Many thanks to Webbs again at Lincoln for letting me loose on their bike. Yeah, and many thanks to Ben as well for sorting out this test ride for me. Oh man, these bikes just feel absolutely beautiful. They're just so easy to ride. 19.5 degrees C. We've got a couple of hours on this. Clutch is so light and that quick shifter is just beautiful. So we're heading out to a place called Bardney. We're going to take her on a few twisty roads out that way. Oh, listen to that. So seating position on this one, it does feel exactly the same as the Rally Pro, and by which I mean that your legs are your feet feel slightly lower on this than they do on my Tiger Sport. Just so well behaved, it's just lovely to ride. So I've been on this bike for about 5 minutes. Literally, I've just left Webbs of Lincoln. Just want to thank the guys there for organising this test ride for me. It was Ben that I spoke to today. It was Andy that put me down for the test ride, but it was Ben that I spoke to today because Andy's off. So thanks to you guys, you are awesome. If this is your first time tuning in to the channel, I did a test ride on the Rally Pro a couple of weeks ago, so if you've not seen that, just have a look at that one as well. I will put a link below, and I think people who saw that video will be left in no doubt what I thought of that bike, and that is that I absolutely loved it. So this bike feels very similar to that bike, because it is basically the same machine. This is the bike that's designed with more of a road focus, so more of a view to touring and that sort of thing. Not that you couldn't do that on the GT Pro, on the Rally Pro. So it's got the smaller front wheel on this one. This one's got the 19-inch wheel, whereas the Rally Pro's got a 21-inch front wheel, which is fine, and you don't notice much difference really between that and this bike. But the one thing that I did notice, being someone who's new to sort of off-road style bikes, taller adventure bikes, was the gyroscopic effect of that big front wheel. So when you come to sort of trying to flick it through bends, there was a little bit of reluctance for the bike to want to flick backwards and forwards. Just going around single-sided bends like that one, the bike just tipped in, you know, perfectly. It wasn't a problem at all. But the thing that I noticed going through sort of S-type bends was that it was fine going one way into the bend, either left or right, but then when you wanted to flick it back and go the other way, it just felt the gyroscope was sort of fighting you. So it'd be interesting to see what this one feels like. See whether this one feels the same. The thing that I find instantly more noticeable with having this smaller screen compared to my Tiger Sport is the amount of noise that I get from my helmet. I mean, it's my helmet that's the problem, it's not the screen. But I just notice that it's a noisier ride once you get over sort of 50 miles an hour. But it's got the same sound as well as the Rally Pro, which I absolutely love. As most of you will know, the firing order, the 132 firing order, and this T-plane crank that Triumph have come up with, just gives the engine that distinctive character, the noise character. And there's a little bit of vibe from the engine as well, which personally I quite like. There will be people out there that really don't like that. So you do feel a bit of vibration all the way through that rev range, up through the gearbox. I'm in 5th now, and you can feel vibration, a little bit of a tingle in the bars, a little bit of a tingle in my backside through the seat, but it's not something that's really intrusive or something that would, you know, be a deal breaker on this bike. I think it's one of those things that just adds character to it. There'll be a lot of people that just don't want that. They just want something that's perfectly smooth and so, as you know, these bikes are made in Thailand for Triumph, but the build quality of them is excellent. Certainly got no complaints about the build quality. The ride on this one's the GT Pro, has electronic suspension. The actual smoothness of the ride is just amazing. With that electronic suspension, it's just so smooth. But having said that, the Rally Pro was a super smooth bike as well. So this one, I think, has the which suspension is this? This has Marzocchi suspension, I think, whilst the Rally Pro has the long travel Showa suspension. They're also fitted with anti-stall technology, which I think I would find really handy, because the amount of times I've stalled my Tiger Sport, I don't know what it is, whether it's just me being useless or whether at idle the bike is just ticking over slightly too slowly. So as you know, this bike's got the 888cc engine. It's got the 132 firing order. It's 94 horsepower, which I think is more than enough. There's one or two people have asked me whether it feels underpowered if you're fully luggaged. That I can't answer that question, because I'm not riding in those sort of conditions. But with the amount of torque that this bike produces, I would suggest that's not going to be the case for this bike. Maybe when you got up to 90, 100 miles an hour, but this feels really nimble and fun to ride. Not used to it at all, so I'm not going to go too banzai with it. One of the things that I'm not totally sold on is this tail light unit here. You know, if you wanted to put a tail tidy on, you'd be a bit stumped really, because that's all one moulded unit, which goes into the rack on the back as well. So the indicators are housed in there, tail lights housed in there. So how you'd go about actually putting a tail tidy on, if that's what you wanted to do. So heated rear seat, switch for the heated rear seat is there. Little tag there telling you what it is, as if you didn't know already. These bikes now come with this detachable subframe on the back, so crashing the bike and bending the frame of the bike is no longer going to write it off. Electronic rear suspension, I think that's the unit for it there. This one here. And the suspension is fantastic, as is this quick shifter and auto blipper. It's fantastic on the Rally Pro. I'll get it right. And it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same engine, so you know it's going to be exactly the same. This one's fitted with the tank crash protection bars as well as these engine crash protection bars. These come as standard. These are an extra. Brembo brakes, which, like an idiot, I didn't think were up to much on the Rally Pro. Absolutely superb brakes, far more subtle than the ones on mine. I can't even remember what's on mine. I think they're Brembos as well. Beautiful fit and finish on this bike. I know they're made in Thailand now, but really the quality is all there. You really haven't got anything to worry about buying a Taiwanese bike, a Taiwanese built bike. Obviously they're built to Triumph specifications, so they've got to meet standards. That TFT, as I said last time, not a huge fan of this TFT. Well, I like it. What I don't like about it is the rev counter. The other thing that I was getting confused with as we were riding out, so heated grip button, I didn't explain that on the last video, I don't think. This is the same on the Rally Pro as well. The thing that I was getting confused with is this toggle switch here. So your mode button's here, but your toggle switch is here. So you automatically go here for the indicator switch. So people behind you think you're a bit simple. Illuminated switch gear. It's the PCB stuff again, the switch gear. And I got told off on the last video because I cocked up. I forget what it was now. But this isn't what I thought it was. This isn't beam and main beam. So let's have a look at the front of the bike. Let's get this right. So nothing on there at the moment. So what have we got on there? So it's just one single headlight on there. If I then flick that upwards, yeah, DRL is on full there. Ah yes. So that switches between the DRL and the single-sided headlight. There we go. That's what that switch does. Hope you're happy. I can't remember your name. I will give you a name check on the video now. So that's what that switch does. So the other switch here, that's that one there. That's for your fog lights. These LEDs. What century am I living in? So they're now on, and then this one, yeah, is your dip and main beam. And also you can flash on that one as well, I presume. But you have to do it twice. Is there a simpler way? No, there isn't. You would have to do that twice. So if you're that's your dip and your main beam switch, that red one there. So this one. But you do have to press it twice. If you were going to flash someone, you'd have to do it twice. Okay, so is that also the same? So if the DRL is on, yes, there you go. So you can flash from that one if the lights are off. Okay, so lights, we've sorted them now. We've covered them. Thank Christ for that. So one or two things that I'm not mad keen on. Well, I'm not mad keen on these things. I don't like these. Why can't manufacturers put on something that's attractive to look at, which looks stylish? The minimum amount you're going to pay for this bike is, this one is 12,700 I believe. The Rally Pro is 13,100, and still you just get those plastic pots on them. Why can't manufacturers put something on that's nice to look at? Surely that can't be too difficult. When you stop the bike, everything resets itself. So if you've got the heated grips on, if you stop the bike and get off, then they will reset. So yeah, all the electronics reset themselves, so you have to reset certain gadgets when you get back on the bike. I don't want it to do that. If I get off at the petrol station, I don't want to have to then sit there and reset everything to what it was before. Looks awesome with that sky in the background. So they're just minor niggles. The things that I don't like about it are very minor. There's not many plastic bits to dislike on it. Cheap plasticky tat. Double-sided swing arm. This bike does have a bit of off-road capability. And I think there are 4 rider modes along with a customisable rider mode, whereas the Rally Pro has 5 rider modes along with a customisable one as well. And one of those modes you can switch off all your traction control. So what I'm going to do, get back on, ride her a bit more. The electronics, so the bike forgets the settings when you turn the bike off. I don't know whether in the future they could alter that with a computer update. The master cylinders, they look a bit cheap and crap. You could put some coloured ones on, you know, to match the bike. Coloured lids, just to match the bike, just to make it look a bit better. I dare say they've thought of that, and they probably thought it looks rubbish. The rev counter, well, we talked about that last time. I don't like the rev counter on this. Maybe that could be sorted through a computer update. The joystick is a bit of a faff. I did write here, colour schemes look a bit boring, but well, I don't think they're that boring, to be honest. The white one's boring. I know that on the Rally Pro, the green colour, which is possibly the best colour out of all of them, that is 200 quid extra. And in my personal opinion, I think the black, the shiny black, is nicer than the matte green. And I know that goes against what most people think, because most people think that the green is by far and away the better colour. It's lovely, don't get me wrong, I really like it. But if it comes down to having to spend 200 quid extra at the point of purchase, I'd be more than happy with the black, because I also like something to polish. So yeah, it feels wide, it feels like it's got a large frontal area, and when you look down, the tank does flare. It flares out here and here, and then with these tank crash bars as well. Cheers, pal. So the 900 then, it comes in 5 different models. The base model, they've all got the same engine, they've all got the same chassis and frame, and the basics are pretty much the same. The basic one starts at 9.5 grand, and then the range splits into 2 different arms. You've got the Rally and the GT. So it's as they describe it, splits into the road and the off-road branches. The road-based GT is, ow, flipping it, smacked in the face by a bee. So the road-based GT is £11,100. The higher spec GT Pro, £12,800. And for the more off-road base rally, you're talking 11,700 with the higher spec Rally Pro. Where's that going to? That's going back up there. Okay. Where's that go? Old Woodall. Let's go to Old Woodall. So the higher spec Rally Pro, that's 13,100. So the Rally Pro's got the 5 different riding mode, whereas the GT Pro has 4. I got it wrong earlier. I thought it was 5 and 6, but it's not. It's 4 and 5. Both have a customizable one as well. So all models share the same base engine, as I've already said. The swing arm, the frame, subframe, brakes, tank, bodywork, lights, seats, mirrors and screen. Electronics, rider aids, general spec levels, suspension spec, wheels, ride heights, seat heights, and riding positions vary from model to model. Electronically adjustable shock damping on the GT Pro, an up and down quick shifter, the smartphone TFT display connectivity via the My Triumph app, LED fog lights, heated seats, illuminated switches, tyre pressure monitoring, nothing coming, tyre pressure monitoring and a centre stand. Also the GT Pro doesn't get the motor crash protection. So this crash protection here is an extra, all of it. Whereas the motor crash protection comes as standard on the Rally Pro. So basically it comes down to what you want to do on the bike. As I said earlier, you know, if you want to go touring and you're not interested in doing off-road stuff, then this is the bike for you. They've both got that adventure look about them. Personally speaking, I want to do a bit of off-road stuff. In terms of wanting one, as you know, on the last video I said that I really fancied the Rally Pro, and I was going to have some words with Mrs. Smogel, probably next year, not this year, because I've not had mine that long. Bollocks to it. Chuck it up here. Quite easy to manoeuvre and handle this bike. You don't feel intimidated at all. Just riding it up that bank there onto the verge. It just feels very competent and very confidence inspiring, if you like. Yeah, there it is. It was still in my helmet, little sod. Very lucky not to get stung there. It was still stuck in my helmet, right in front of my mouth. Yeah, I didn't discuss in the last one. Under the seat, you've got under seat storage under the back seat for and a charging point for your mobile phone. Oh yeah, I tell you what. Even on that bit of grass there, this bike just feels really nice. It's competent. Just to chuck it about, just to move it around like that. It's an amazing bit of kit. Pretty certain that I said that I was going to be doing Land's End John O'Groats at the start of September. That trip is still on. I'm still going to be doing that, so I will be vlogging it. Obviously when I get back I won't be doing that while I'm away. So those videos will be coming up mid-September. I'm hopefully going to get the video on this little beauty out to you before I go away. I've only got another week before I go away. The torque is amazing. We're just trundling along there. I'm in 6th gear doing 30 miles an hour. and there's just no complaints from the engine at all. It just deals with it, simply because that torque is so enormous for this bike. So I'll keep the video running until we get back to Webb's, but basically that's it from me for this bike, for the Tiger 900 GT Pro.